Hey guys, and welcome to Pirate Hunter Trophy. Awful Villain, the 7th episode of the 3rd season of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba is out, and in today's video, we're checking out every detail, so stay tuned so as not to miss out. We kick off as Hantengu runs away from Tanjiro, and the Demon Slayer chases him into a clearing. Tanjiro lights his exploding blood sword on fire and brings it down on the neck of the small demon. Upper rank 4 screams in pain as the blade burns him, but Tanjiro is determined to keep trying even though the blade is already halfway through him. Something comes out of nowhere from behind him and scares him. It smells different than urogi, sekido, aizetsu, or karaku. He continues to stand his ground, but Nezuko's blood demon art has worn off, so he can't cut any deeper into Hantengu's neck. Genya tells him to move away and aims from behind Tanjiro, but he can't shoot because he could hit him. The demon uses his body to make a double-bladed dagger and beats a drum that is connected to him. This makes a powerful shockwave that knocks Tanjiro back. 5 giant wooden dragons rise up from the middle and carry Tanjiro high into the sky. As he struggles to stay on, the dragons try to crush him in their jaws, causing him to jump and avoid them while riding on their necks. He soon loses his grip and is about to fall into one's jaws when Nezuko catches him in time. She gets bit, but her arm and leg heal quickly. When they land, they see a new demon in front of them. He calls them awful villains and calls them brutes who hurt the weak. Tanjiro is surprised to see a 6th monster, but then he realizes he can't see or feel the other 4. Genya is confused when he realizes that this demon used to be Sekido. When Tanjiro cut into Hantengu's neck and shot at the charging Aizetsu, cutting off his arm, Genya turned to see Sekido raise both hands, grab Karaku and Yurogi, and take their bodies into himself. Then he turned to Aizetsu and asked him to come along. Aizetsu seemed to object, but he was still interested. The demon of anger then got down on one knee and changed into Hantengu's hate, a new form. Tanjiro yells at him as he beats on a drum and wraps Hantengu in a piece of wood burl. The demon looks at him with an angry glare that stuns the Demon Slayer to silence, making it hard for him to breathe. Genya, too, freezes in terror and can't stop shaking when she sees his power. The monster of hate asks him if he doesn't like what he's doing. Even though he is scared, Tanjiro asks the demon why he calls them the bad guys. The demon tells him it's because they hurt the weak, giving the example of trying to cut off the head of a demon that fits in their palm. When Tanjiro heard what the demon said, he got angry and asked him how he could call the Hantengu weak. He said they smelled like the blood of hundreds of victims and told them to stop playing the victim. The Demon Slayer raises his sword and says that he will cut off his head. He calls their actions twisted and unforgivable. The Demon of Hate looks confused and asks Tanjiro if he is done talking. He also wonders if Tanjiro ate his family members to make him so angry. When the Demon Slayer disagrees, the demon thinks his acts are right and the Demon Slayers don't matter. Tanjiro says that helping people doesn't need a reason and that someone like him couldn't know. When the insult hurts the demon, he beats his drum and sends the dragons after the Demon Slayer. Muichiro, who is still stuck in the water pot, sees Gyoko look into the work shed behind him. He doesn't understand why this is so important and sinks back into his phase. Muichiro figures that he can use one more form with the air he still has in his lungs. He uses mist breathing, first form low clouds, distant haze, but the blade doesn't go through the water. Muichiro accepts his fate, knowing that he won't be able to escape with a thrust because his blade is chipped. He starts to think about Kaguya, telling his boss that he will die and hoping that Kaguya will send at least 2 Hashiras to help him. Tanjiro shows up out of the blue and asks him why he thinks that, saying that no one can be sure what the future will bring. Muichiro starts to feel confused because Tanjiro has never said those words to him, so he doesn't know who did. At the shed, Kozo stands in front of Gyoko with a knife and tries to stop him from going any further. Upper 5 laughs at his useless attempt to stop him and jokes and asks if he thinks he can fight. The demon makes a vase out of his hand and throws strong streams of water at the blacksmith, breaking his knife and cutting him. Gyoko asks him why he is so protective of the shed when it doesn't house the village chief. He then looks past him and sees Hotaru cleaning Tanjiro's blade. As the blacksmith praises the quality of the steel, Gyoko looks at him and decides that he is not the chief because he is too old. He calls Hotaru's name to get his attention, but Hotaru keeps working on the blade while wondering who made it. The potted monster gets annoyed by his focus and says he feels like an artist's failure. He aims his pot and sends a stream of water at Hotaru, cutting him several times. He keeps polishing though, and Kozo is worried that he won't notice the attack. Gyoko hits again after being stunned, causing more wounds and even breaking the swordsmith's mask. However, the swordsmith stays calm and keeps polishing the blade. Gyoko is shocked by how strong-willed he is, but Hotaru says that the maker of such a unique blade must have had a lot of determination since he only engraved it with one letter since it only serves one purpose. When Kozo calls to him again, Gyoko gets angry that Hotaru doesn't notice him. He thinks killing the smith would be too easy, so he chooses to break his concentration. As Moichiro's vision starts to get worse, he knows he is going to die soon. But Tanjiro tells him he doesn't get to choose when his life ends. Again, the Hashira says that he had not said those words to him. Tanjiro tells him not to give up and that someone will come to help him. Moichiro says that it's pointless to leave something in the hands of others, but Tanjiro tells him that since one person can only do so much, it's easier to have help from others. Moichiro says that no one can help him because they are all weaker than him and that he should have done better. But he made a fatal mistake by overestimating his strength as a Hashira. Tanjiro agrees with him, but also tells him that everything will be fine. As he dies of choking, he closes his eyes and hears something jabbing into the water pot. Kotetsu desperately tries to stab the pot with a knife and says he won't let him die, but he fails. Moichiro says as he watches that the young smith won't be able to help him if even he can't cut it. He says Kotetsu should focus on other things, like the village chief and getting swords to leave the village. All of a sudden, he sees that behind Kotetsu is a fish monster with blades. He starts to hit the pot to get the demon's attention, but the demon strikes and cuts Kotetsu on the arms and shoulder. Moichiro starts to get scared and tells Kotetsu to run away, but the demon stabs him in the solar plexus. He thinks he will die, so he's shocked when the blacksmith walks towards him and tries to stop Kotetsu from helping him and bandaging his wound. Instead, Kotetsu touches the water pot and blows bubbles into it. These bubbles reach Moichiro and let him catch his breath. Tanjiro suddenly reappears and says again that helping others will help him in the long run, but then he disappears into the mist. A new person then appears and tells Moichiro that people can be strong when working together. When the mist clears, Moichiro can see that the new person has red eyes. Now that the Hashira has enough oxygen for one more move, he uses Mist-Breathing Second Form 8-Layered Mist to cut through Gyoko's Blood Demon art. Moichiro says that now that he is free, he knows why Tanjiro seems so important to him. He has the same red eyes as his father. It seems Demon Slayer with episode 7 gets back on track. This episode has been a roller coaster of feelings with lots of action, time to think, and different ideas. First, we need to talk about the skills of the Hate clone. He will be a tough opponent because he can drain the Slayer's energy without even moving. Is it wrong to think about how handsome Haganezuka is when he is in a life or death situation? We see his face for the first time as he keeps working hard on the sword. His single-mindedness and determination could make him a good killer if he wanted to. Outside, poor Tokito is fighting with himself because his apathy is at odds with his memories when he sees Kotetsu giving up his life. Not only did his father and Tanjiro give the same advice, but they also looked alike. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that they may be connected. What are your thoughts on episode 7? Please share with us in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe.